Hello, everybody. This is David Giddings. I'm gonna do my interview project about my literature review right now. It's a little difficult for me to do this because I'm used to feeding off people's energy and doing this in front of a big group of people. I always want to interact with the audience and talk to them and do things of that nature. Unfortunately, I can't do that right now because we're doing this on the webcam. So, you know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm gonna do my very best, though. Let me know how you think of it. So my literature review is on income inequality and wealth distribution and the effects it has on somebody's health. The three countries I did it on were the United States, Sweden, and Iraq. The United States and Sweden were chosen for me, as all of you know, by the teacher. But Iraq I chose by myself because I thought I really wanted to see how income inequality affects people and especially their health in a war-torn country like Iraq. I know Iraq is going through a lot of stuff right now, a lot of things with different militia groups and different countries, even in their own country, fighting amongst each other. And I thought it was something to really think about. My interview project is I interviewed a young lady named Miss Kathleen Vackersell, and she's a really nice, really sweet young lady that works at Mount San Jacinto College in what's the EOPS program, and the EOPS program stands for Extended Opportunity and Program Services. This is to help underfunded people, get an education. So anybody that's on TANF, SNAP, and Medi-Cal that has children already can be a part of this program. It's to help them further their education and really go out and make something instead of just working, a 9 to 5 job, finding something that they can use their brain with or finding something that they can make a career out of instead of just a job. Now, my first question that I asked Ms. Vackersell was, what are the ages of people that she sees? And she told me that the majority of people that she sees are from 20 to 24, which I've seen a lot of your posts and you all look around my age, so that's around the age of people that they're seeing. 20 to 24 with people with children. She does see some single mothers. She also sees single fathers and families. Sometimes it's only the father that can go to school at the moment. Sometimes it's both the mother and the father that she sees at the same time. They're wanting to further their education. Now, one main thing that I wanted to ask her at the very beginning of the interview was, is there something that holds somebody back from joining their program? She did let me know that as of 2014, that that people no longer qualify for the Pell Grant if they do not graduate high school. So if they don't get their GED or high school diploma, they don't qualify for the Pell Grant. So meaning the only thing they can do for those people is refer them to get their GED or their high school diploma. And I think that's really hard for some people because they had to drop out of high school to go to work, and now that they want to come back and finish their education and go back and do something with their education, they can't. It's another obstacle in their way. Now, as I said, I'm looking at income inequality in people's health. Now, one thing that I did notice, that I did ask her, was does she see a difference from people that have children in their health as opposed to somebody that does not? One thing that she did tell me was that the stress level of somebody that has children and going to school is very high for somebody that does not have, or very high for somebody that does have children than somebody that doesn't have children. So meaning the person that has children has to deal with their children, has to feed them, clothe them, bathe them, do everything that a normal parent would do. But on top of that, they have to go to work. They have to feed themselves. They have to do the homework with the child if the child is in school. They also have to find childcare for that person or for that child. So meaning that you have more obstacles put in that person's way for them just trying to further their education. That's one thing that I really wanted to look into as well in the United States is the stress level. The stress level in the United States has been going up increasingly high with people having to work just to work 1 to 2 jobs just to make ends meet, just to barely get by sometimes. And those people still are on welfare, still collecting state aid because they're what we call the working poor. A lot of you may have known about the working poor. It's somebody that works full-time job but still cannot get by, still lives from paycheck to paycheck, and most times does not make it. So another thing that I asked her was the health of people that she sees. Does she see anybody with any health concerns that comes to see her? She did tell me that some health concerns that hold people back are the common flu. And she noticed that people that have children or that work a job and go to school catch the flu a lot more than people that don't. It's because their body is under so much stress that they feel that their immune system is not as high as it should be, that they don't get the right amount of nutrition sometimes, that by doing this, they're actually taking a higher toll on their body just to get by. Um, One thing I did also go under is people that have children. It is provided through the school that they will get childcare, but that is only for 18 months to 4 years old. So after the child does turn 4 and is going to turn 5, they now have to go into the public school system, kindergarten. Now, as if anybody that has this class knows, kindergarten's only half days, so meaning they're only gone for 4 hours. Most college classes are from 4 to 6 hours long. So that's not really a lot of time to, go to at least one class on a daily basis. Other things that she did tell me is a lot of people end up dropping out of the program or dropping out of high school, or not high school, but college, because they find a job, which is great. But the only problem with that is they find a job, they don't find a career. They stop their education to go to work, which people on TANF and SNAP and Medi-Cal know that they will only pay you, or they will only give you subsidized checks if you're working or going to school. But the only thing is, even if you have a child and it's you, a child, and your spouse, for each person you're only getting about $200 a month. So you have to live off $600 a month, plus they only give you a limited amount of money for food, and they give you no money for housing, meaning that unless you're of the very lower class for where you're almost homeless, then they'll give you money for housing. But even that's very temporary. That's only a month or 2 months. And that affects somebody's health on a very dramatic level, because now you have somebody fighting for somewhere to live, going to school, trying to find a job that will work around their school schedule, and dealing with their family. These are all obstacles put into somebody's way of trying to earn an education. And not only that, but not only earn an education, earn a higher income, and earn a better quality of life, earn a better health, better health. Now, some things that she said is holding somebody coming into this college, something that's holding them back that she sees on a constant basis is homelessness. A lot of people with children and you know, with children trying to go back to school are of the homeless community. They don't have a stable home over their head. They need a shelter. They also need food they also need food. She sees this on a daily basis. And what really breaks her heart on a daily basis is she has to send them to a homeless shelter before she can even help them get their education. They need a permanent address. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's my kids giggling. So if you do hear that, I'm very sorry about that. But she has to send them to a permanent to try to get a permanent address so that way they can actually go to school. Yet another obstacle put in somebody's way trying to further their education. Now, one thing that she did tell me is the percent of people that come back are 60 to 70%. So what she sees is 60 or 70% do come in from the welfare office trying to further their education. But out of that 60 to 70%, only 30% of them make it because they find work, which is great, understandable to find work and to work with it. But their jobs won't allow them to continue their education. She was telling me a story of a young lady that actually found a job with the social services system. She found a job as an intake clerk. She started work, and she was one semester away from getting her associate's degree. And the even the social services system said they would not work with her school schedule. Said that she had to choose whether she wanted to go to work or whether she wanted to continue her education. To me, that's very hard on somebody because now you're telling them, do they want the short-term gain of working, or do they want the long-term of furthering their education into something that they can turn a career out of? Social service is a great career, but you can only get so high with the education that you receive. Also, another thing that she brought up was nutrition. One thing that she tells me is that nutrition plays a big part because you have some students that stay there all day but don't have enough money to pay for the food to eat there. So they actually will go hungry on campus. And she sees that on a constant basis of people that need the food but unfortunately can't afford it. So they sit in the cafeteria and then they'll just sit there and do their homework, which is great, but they can only afford the one meal a day and that's their dinner when they get home. And that takes a big toll on the body. The body has to stay healthy with nutrition, foods, fruits, vegetables. Even if it's processed food for a day, they at least need something in their stomach because their body will start to eat off of itself. Now, another thing that I did ask her is how many students does she see, on the average? And even since the crash in 2008, she still sees about 480 students a year, if not semesterly. So that's 480 students of some people that are trying to get back into school, trying to better their education, trying to better their lives. Now, as I said, I'm looking at the health options of this, or the health aspects of this. Now, one thing I did notice and I did talk to her about was the stress level. The stress level is very high for somebody that goes back to school. And I say goes back to school because they're going back to school to further their education because they had to stop at some point. They could have graduated high school and then came back to college. Maybe they had a child, or maybe life just got in the way. And one thing that she did tell me is that people with children do come see her for just peer counsel or for just counseling sometimes, just somebody to vent to and talk to, somebody that they need to talk to about, some of the stresses they have in life. And the stresses are what causes a lot of these problems. The stresses are what causes a lot of health issues. Your heart feels the stress of your body. Not only that, but your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, they all feel stress. And if you have too much stress in your life, what's going to end up happening is going to take a very big toll on your body. Not only your body, but the body of your children, the body of your family. It's going to have this increased effect on you. Now, what she did tell me is that people with children that do come to see her and that stick with it, they may have a higher stress level, but they also do have a higher stress tolerance. What she means to tell me by this is she sees people that will work a 40-hour a week and then still go to school at night and finish their homework and do everything like that. That's a very high stress. That's a very high stress. But the stress tolerance that they have built up over the years is a lot higher. She has told me that she's done the research and she has seen that people that come back to college after leaving for a little bit and have got their life a little bit in order, as opposed to somebody that just left from high school to go to college, make better students. What I mean by this is they've determined on how they can study, the times they can study, and things of this nature. And she says they make way better students, at least that she's seen. Now, I did ask her if all colleges offer the EOPS program. She said no, it's a community college level. And this is great because what ends up happening is it helps them get that beginning degree, that associate's degree, or maybe even that certificate. But that helps them get that first step in the door. And if they want to continue their bachelor's degree, they have all options too. So, as a wrap up, I say that her program helps people deal with the stress and the health issues that have to deal with being a low income person. Being of the lower income as I used to be is very difficult on people. And the one main thing that they feel when they go to these programs and they go to pick up their welfare or go to their welfare workers is shame because of what society has put on them. They tell them that they're lazy, that they don't know how to work, that they that they don't that they don't do anything for society. But they do. They work harder than most people I've seen. They do more jobs. They do any type of job that I've seen. I've had people that I see pick up trash for a living every day just to stay just barely above that welfare line so that way they can say they don't have to do it. But If they put a little bit more into their education, they wouldn't have to pick up trash every day. They can do what they're entitled to do. Okay, everybody. Like I said, I usually feed off the crowd. I usually go really in depth, and I'm using my hands, and I'm trying my hardest to, you know, to talk to the little button on top of my laptop. So please bear with me. If you have any comments or any critiques, please let me know, because, like I said, this is my first time. Y'all have a great one. Take care. I hope everybody's week is going great. I hope everybody's cool for the end of the semester. Have a good one, y'all.